that application form, I would say, make sure that you're paying close attention to detail. Avoid making mistakes. One of the key skills that we look for is definitely attention to detail. So make sure before you click submit, there are no spelling mistakes, no grammatical errors, and make sure that you're answering the question that you were asked. So many people sort of try to answer a question that they wish they were asked. If it's a two-part question, answer both parts of the question. And we also want to see that people have a nice writing style. So make sure that the answer that you produce has a logical structure and flows nicely. Once you click submit on your application, you'll be invited to complete a critical thinking test. My biggest piece of advice for that would be practice. Practice, practice, practice. We have a practice platform that you can access, which tells you which questions you're getting right, which ones are wrong, and which types of questions that you could do with developing.
So what key skills do we look for when candidates apply to our firm? It's a good question. It's one we get asked a lot up and down the country at different law fairs. I always caveat my answer by saying we don't have a mould of someone we're looking for. You need to hit these skills, otherwise we're not interested. It doesn't work like that. Every candidate's going to have their own skill set, and each application is going to be subjective and special to them. But ultimately, the best skills, I suppose, that we see for those on the training contract or from applicants, I'd say is facilitation skills, a person who can communicate with different people and bring out different sides of those, maybe in a group task or in a project that they're working on. Comprehension skills. Now, I say that in the sense of, yes, we have to have good communication skills, but comprehension. Can you understand what's been asked of you? Can you understand maybe what the client's asking without them specifically saying this verbatim? And thirdly, it's just been friendly, just been approachable. If someone can come up to me and go, look, I don't know what area of law I want to qualify into, but I'm really interested in what you've got there. Can I just have a chat about that? Fine. You're approachable, you're polite, you're friendly. I've got a lot of time for that. We're not looking for the finished product, but we're certainly looking for somebody that is interested.
So when we have students applying to Gateley, we do look for a number of skills that they come with. So firstly, we look for a really good demonstration of their understanding of what a trainee solicitor actually is and what competencies and experiences they need in order to be successful in that role. So things like commercial awareness, organisation, team working, communication, all of those sorts of aspects we really look for. But actually, we don't want prospective trainees to come to us to let us know what they've done or what experiences they've got, but what they've learned from those experiences and those skills as well. So that really helps them to stand out above all applications.
So I would say the biggest one, which might sound unlikely, but happens, is when you include the wrong firm's name in your application. We all use quite a lot of similar systems and quite a lot of similar questions, and so it's easy if you've prepared your questions on another document perhaps, to then move that over to the system and think you have submitted your question for or response for one firm, and actually you're actually in a different firm's system. So I would say that's kind of one of the biggest ways, but my kind of golden rule for applications, as you like, is if you can read through your response and you feel that if you took out the name of the firm that you're applying to and were able to put in the name of another firm and it would still read, it would all still make sense, that actually you might need to go away and do a little bit more research to tailor that properly.
I think what made my application stand out is that I wrote about things that I was genuinely interested in, and then when I progressed to interview stage, I had then openly talk about those topics. I find often students discuss things in their application, what they think will impress the firm, but it doesn't come across as authentic.
Yeah, so definitely research into the firm. I dedicated a long hours into finding out what the firm does, the clients the firm work with, what actually sets the firm apart. Apart from that, attending open days, attending insight days, attending events like LawCareersNetLIVE really did help my application stand out. And also finding out my experience and what is it that makes me stand out from other applicants, and making sure I do talk about that in my application.
I think I made my application stand out by being interesting as a person. I wouldn't say that I'm obviously an interesting person, but finding things that people want to talk to you about is really important. A lot of the interviews are done back to back with the same partners interviewing the same kind of person over and over again. And it's quite nice for them to have a conversation with someone that's different and interesting. And that can come from extracurriculars, sport, niche interests, to bits of reading that you've done and commercial awareness. Bristows is a firm full of nerds, so people will find any niche interest interesting in an interview. So yeah, I think that was the best approach for me, was finding why I was someone they wanted to talk to generally as a conversation.
My biggest top tips for researching law firms would be to find an opportunity to meet the firm in person. I think it brings a level of authenticity to your application, and you can show that you truly know the firm and the sectors that they operate in.
When it comes to researching firms, I would always say, think about what it is that you're genuinely interested in. Don't think about what it is that we want to see or what we're expecting you to know about the firm. I would always say, think about what it is that you're really interested in, because then that's going to help you later on in the process as well. I would also say dive deeper than the first page of the website, so that we've got more information there. And I would also say don't just regurgitate what's on maybe the early careers or graduate recruitment page of the website, because chances are the person who's reading your application might have written what's on that page as well.
I think the best way when you're considering what to do with a firm, it's so difficult when you look at the websites and you're like, all of them do the same thing. And as soon as one does something really cool and interesting, everyone else is going to rush to emulate it. So I found when I was doing applications, I can answer the question, but everyone sort of does the same thing. Like, we all have an amazing ESG offering. We all, have these different practice areas. We really embrace tech. We're really forward thinking. Like, everyone basically says the same thing, because that's what we need and that's what the client expectation is. No one's going to go for a firm that doesn't do these things. It's the natural expectation. So when you're trying to make it distinct, I really think have a human touch. Like, reach out to someone, reach out to a trainee, drop a LinkedIn. Like, if they have an event, go and speak to them, because that's going to be the difference. They're seeing it day to day. I'm not sure if you can get a sense of what they actually do from a website, because they're putting their best foot forward. But I think if you can speak to someone individually, that's probably the best method.
So my top tips for researching law firms is, firstly, just really understand what it is that you want out of your career. Once you know what you want, you can start researching the firms that really align with your own values. I also recommend for your research that you start to use AI. I think it's a really great tool to be able to refine your own original thoughts about law firms and about the strengths that you can bring to your future career. I think a really fantastic way to utilise AI in the research process is to be able to write a personal statement about yourself, but then pop it into AI and ask AI to think of itself as an employer at the firm you're applying to. Ask it what the sentiment of your personal statement is, and ask it whether, if AI was the employer, would they give you the job?
My top tip for researching law firms is to go beyond what's on the website. Of course, it makes sense to have a look at the firm's website, to have a look at their practice groups, their sectors and specialisms, but that's where everybody else will start as well. Have a look at the firm's early careers website. Usually there'll be a page on people with insight from individuals at the firm. So look at that, but seek out opportunities to speak with people firsthand as well, whether it's in-person events, law fairs like LCN Live Manchester today. I've spoken to so many students with so many great questions, and that's a great first step. Don't be shy in terms of connecting with people on LinkedIn, asking them questions as well. And then of course, applying for whatever opportunities are out there. Make sure you know when the deadlines are. Do firms recruit on a rolling basis? So they'd be my top tips.